This episode is sponsored by Calm Mind Behavioral Health Counseling. If the topics we explore today resonate with you, it might be a sign to seek a supportive space for your own journey. Michael C. Thompson, the licensed professional counselor behind Calm Mind, offers convenient and confidential online therapy, allowing you to engage from the comfort of your own home. He specializes in helping individuals navigate complex challenges like depression, men's issues, and addictive behaviors by fostering deep self-awareness and genuine self-compassion. Take the first step and visit calmmind.life to schedule a free, no-obligation 15-minute consultation. Hello and welcome back to the Mindful Insights Podcast. I'm Charlie Michaels, and I'm here with my co-host, Michelle Thomas.
It's great to be back, Charlie. In part one of this discussion, we did a lot of work to deconstruct the social media caricature of the narcissist. We moved past the myth of the supremely confident villain and uncovered the clinical reality, a profound internal fragility.
You brought us that powerful metaphor of the self-esteem as a kite without wind, a beautiful, elaborate thing that is completely dependent on a constant updraft of external validation, admiration, envy, and attention just to stay airborne.
And today, we're asking the next logical question. What happens when that kite is threatened? We're going to explore the devastating real-world impact of these patterns on relationships and careers, dive into the why, the neurobiology and developmental origins, and finally discuss the how, the challenging but hopeful path to treatment and healing.
As always, we want to remind our listeners that while we are exploring these complex topics, our conversation is for educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for therapy or advice from a qualified professional. Please be sure to seek out guidance for your individual needs. So, Michelle, let's start with that kite. In part one, we established that a person with NPD is defined by that internal fragility. So how does that inner state translate into the external behaviors that cause so much harm to others?
That is the critical question. It's because to keep that kite in the air, the person with NPD must control their environment. And that includes the people in it. Other people cease to be individuals. They become functions. Their only purpose is to provide that updraft, that narcissistic supply.
And when a person is just a function, there's no room for their own needs, feelings, or successes.
None at all. In relationships, this often follows a predictable and painful cycle. Idealization, devaluation, and discard. First, in the idealization phase, they put you on a pedestal. You are the perfect partner, the most brilliant colleague. This feels incredibly validating, but it's not about you. It's about them seeing their own reflection in you. You are special, therefore, they are special for being with you.
But that pedestal is a very precarious place to be, because the moment you assert your own humanity, you disagree with them, you have a need of your own, or you receive praise that they feel they deserved, you are no longer a perfect reflection.
And that's when the devaluation begins. That narcissistic injury, the wind dying, is so catastrophic that they must protect the kite. Their defense is to attack the source of the injury, which is you. This can be overt, through contempt and rage, or it can be covert and insidious. Subtle put-downs, jokes at your expense, or gaslighting you until you question your own reality.
Let's make that concrete. Say you come home excited because you got a major promotion at work. A healthy partner would celebrate with you. How might a partner with NPD react?
Their first internal reaction isn't joy. It's a threat. The spotlight has moved. So they might immediately diminish it. Well, it's about time he recognized you, I guess. It's a pity it comes with more hours. Or they'll hijack the celebration entirely. That's great. You know, that reminds me of the bonus I got, which was actually the biggest in the whole company's history. They have to recenter the narrative immediately.
And this isn't just in romantic relationships. This pattern is incredibly destructive in the workplace. This is the boss who takes credit for their team's ideas, or the colleague who subtly sabotages a project to make themselves look better in comparison.
It's the classic kiss up, kick down phenomenon. They are brilliant at managing their superiors, the people they see as high status, but are dismissive or exploitative of their subordinates. Because again, it's all about the function. The boss is a function of status. The subordinate is a function of utility. The moment that utility runs out, they move to the final stage, the discard.
It's a chilling and exhausting pattern. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll move from the what to the why and explore where these patterns even come from. For all the exhausted men out there who feel trapped in emotionally unstable relationships, Reclaiming Your Reality is here to help. Do you constantly question your own reality? The workbook, Reclaiming Your Reality, a man's guide to healing from the exhaustion, emasculation, and entrapment of an emotionally unstable relationship, is for you. It provides the tools to understand the chaos, set powerful boundaries, and start rebuilding your life based on your own values. Stop walking on eggshells and start reclaiming your reality. Find the workbook on Amazon or learn more at calmmind.life. Welcome back to Mindful Insights. We've just discussed the destructive impact of NPD on relationships and careers. This brings us to the fundamental why. Is this nature or nurture? Where does this profound fragility, this need for a defensive, grandiose self begin?
That's the question at the heart of all personality disorders, isn't it? And the clinical consensus is that it's an incredibly complex mix of both.
Exactly. There's no single narcissism gene, but there is a clear genetic component, a predisposition to certain temperaments like high emotional reactivity or aggression. But that genetic vulnerability is then shaped by early life experiences. Psychodynamic theories offer a compelling model for this.
They really do. The core idea is that the pathological grandiose self is a defense built in childhood. It's not who the person is. It's a suit of armor they built to survive.
That's a perfect way to put it. This armor is often forged in response to a primary caregiver who is cold, rejecting, or inconsistently values the child. But here's the key. The caregiver doesn't value the child for their authentic self, for being sad or scared or average. They only provide validation when the child is performing, being the smartest or the most talented or the prettiest.
So the child learns that their real self is unacceptable and shameful. And to get the connection and validation they desperately need, they have to bury that real self and project a false self that is impressive and can earn praise. Over time, that false self becomes the rigid, grandiose armor we call narcissism.
And fascinatingly, brain imaging is beginning to show the physical footprint of this. Studies show that individuals with NPD often have differences in brain structures associated with empathy.
You mean you can actually see it?
In some cases, yes. Research has pointed to reduced gray matter in the anterior insula, a part of the brain that is absolutely vital for emotional empathy, the ability to feel what another person is feeling. So when we say they lack empathy, it may not just be a choice. Their brain may be structurally less equipped to process it.
Wow. So when that's combined with a prefrontal cortex that's wired for defense rather than regulation, you have a perfect storm. It's a brain that is hypersensitive to threat and under-equipped for compassionate connection.
It's a deeply ingrained pattern of survival that has become pathological. And that distinction is so important as we move into our final section, treatment. Let's take a moment there.
With Christmas right around the corner, if you're looking for the perfect gift, consider the novel Anger's Bitch by Michael C. Thompson. It's a character-driven drama that pulls you in from the first page. While it's an intriguing drama, it also touches on complex issues like out-of-control anger, people-pleasing, and the power of self-acceptance. It's a powerful story about the weight of the past and the courage it takes to earn a second chance. Anger's Bitch is available in paperback and ebook now on Amazon, and we're excited to announce the audio version will be available this December on Audible.
Welcome back. We've discussed the impact of NPD and its complex origins in biology and childhood experience. This brings us to the most difficult question. Can a person with NPD change? What does treatment and healing look like?
This is where we have to be realistic. MPD is notoriously difficult to treat. A primary reason is that the disorder is ego-syntonic, which means the person's ego is perfectly in tune with it. They don't experience their grandiosity or entitlement as a problem. The problem is always the world for failing to recognize their superiority.
The very thing that needs treating, that pathological grandiose defense, is what prevents them from accepting treatment. They typically only seek therapy when their defenses have failed, when the kite has crashed, maybe after a painful divorce or a public failure at work, and they're facing a severe depression.
But when they do get into therapy, what does that look like? You can't just tell them to be more empathetic.
Absolutely not. It's a long-term, intensive process. The goal isn't to destroy the grandiose self. That's their only defense. The goal is to slowly and compassionately help them build a connection to the authentic, vulnerable self they buried as a child. Therapies like transference-focused psychotherapy or schema-focused therapy are designed to do this, to help them understand their patterns and gradually build a more stable, authentic sense of self-worth. It is incredibly hard work, but it is not impossible.
That's a crucial ray of hope for the person with the disorder. But what about the people affected by them? For many listeners, their how isn't about getting their loved one into therapy. It's about how they can heal and survive.
You are so right, Michelle. And for the person on the receiving end of these behaviors, the path to healing boils down to one word: boundaries.
And setting a boundary with a person with NPD is not like setting a boundary with anyone else. They will experience your boundary as a profound, personal rejection, a narcissistic injury.
They will. And that's why the boundary cannot be a request. It cannot be an argument. A boundary is not about changing their behavior. It is a clear, calm statement of what your behavior will be.
Can you give us an example?
A great one is moving from arguing to action. The old pattern is to get drawn into a 4-hour fight, defending your reality. The boundary sounds like this: I can hear that you are angry, but I am not going to be yelled at. I am going to leave the room. I am willing to talk about this later when we can both speak calmly.
And then you have to actually do it. You have to walk away despite the inevitable storm that follows. It's like you said in part 1 about the kite. Their rage is a frantic attempt to create a storm and get the kite back in the air. The boundary is you refusing to be the wind.
That is it, exactly. Healing for the person affected by narcissism is about detaching from that outcome. It's about reclaiming your own reality, your own energy, and your own right to be treated with respect, whether they're capable of giving it or not.
A powerful and essential takeaway.
It truly is. And that process of reclaiming your well-being often means finding support in all forms, big and small. Let's take our final break right there. We know that the unconditional companionship of an animal can be a powerful force for healing. Their presence can ease anxiety, lift depression, and provide a steady, non-judgmental anchor in a chaotic world. But sometimes, housing rules can create a heartbreaking barrier. That's where a HUD-compliant emotional support animal, or ESA letter, becomes so important. An official HUD-compliant ESA letter from a licensed professional provides the necessary documentation to request reasonable accommodation for your animal in most no-pet housing situations, as protected under the Fair Housing Act. If you believe an ESA is a vital part of your mental health journey, Michael C. Thompson offers professional and ethical consultations. Learn more and see if you qualify at calmmind.life/ESA. That's calmmind.life/ESA.
Charlie, bringing this all together has been so important. We've taken this 2-part journey from a viral hashtag to the internal world of fragility, and now to the real-world consequences and the paths to healing, both for the individual and for those in their lives.
It's a journey from judgment to the compassionate clinical reality. It's complex, it's painful, but as you said, it's also deeply human. Thank you, Michelle, for bringing so much clarity to this. You've been listening to the Mindful Insights podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please consider subscribing and maybe share it with someone you think might need to hear it. You never know who you might be helping. Until next time, be kind to your mind.